Ended a public meeting in Galway last night organised by Fianna Fáil TD Frank Fahey to discuss the economic crisis. He was joined by the economist and special advisor to the Minister for Finance, Dr Alan Ahern. However, the meeting eventually broke up amidst walkouts and protests.
This was the first time Dr Alan Ahern sat alongside a politician and faced the wrath of the public. He was there to talk about our prospects of economic recovery, but the meeting was marred by walkouts and protests.
Talk about where I see the economy as a professional economist at the moment and where I see it going, and in particular what options I see for trying to get the economy out of the very, very difficult position that it's in.
I've been asked by many people to explain what exactly happened in this economy, how did we get it wrong, what mistakes were made, and what have we done to try and put right that situation.
But the explanations didn't satisfy the public at last night's meeting. The anger and frustration is just a foretaste of what's in store for electioneering candidates.
I want to ask you a question. Frank, they call me the angle of England. I want to ask you a question. Are you going to resign? If you don't resign, I'm going to run as an independent candidate against you.
Last night, but just before we do that, we're going to bring you a taste of some of the anger and the frustration that's out there at the moment, which of course will greet TDs on the doorsteps very soon, if not already. That anger was palpable when more than 200 people attended a public meeting in Galway last night to discuss the economic crisis. The meeting was organised by Fianna Fáil TD Frank Fahey, and he was joined by NUIG economist and special advisor to the Minister for Finance, Dr Alan Ahern. He was there to talk about our prospects for economic recovery, but the meeting eventually broke up amidst walkouts and protests. Our reporter Teresa Mannion was there.
This was the first time Dr Alan Ahern sat alongside a politician and faced the wrath of the public as he attempted to talk up the government's 4-year recovery plan. It was a baptism of fire.
I learned nothing new about the economy that I didn't already know. But what I would like to know is why in the bloody blazes did the government have to employ you when they have loads on their books already as experts? And would you mind telling me how much did the government pay you for that information tonight? Or the information that you are supposedly given to them for the past 2.5 years?
How much
to the government.
How much am I paid?
Yes.
It's on public record. It's about 130,000. You had a chart there about cheaper wages. You know, we're number one, cheapest in Europe. Doesn't that mean that we're number one for wage cuts and job losses as well? I think it's better to have wage adjustment of prices, and you retain employment. And that's the whole point. If wages didn't fall, if those wages had not come down, that I showed you, we would have much higher unemployment. Something has to give, and it's better that wages give rather than quantities, rather than employment. So we are a country that we had got up to our GDP levels about the highest in the world. So in 2007 we thought we were the richest country in the world. Well, guess what? We weren't the richest country. It was a bubble.
Frank Fahey. So I want to ask Frank Fahey, if you are standing for election, what do you want apart from an outer bypass? You have said nothing about people that are on hospital waiting lists, on public housing waiting lists, that have got no jobs. Thank you.
I have been involved in a very significant way over the years in the development of our hospitals. Massive investment has gone in to improve services. There is still much work to be done in that respect.
I'm a Fianna Fáil from the grassroots. Do you know what, Frank? American companies supply the export boom. The European Union supplied the money, and you're just the agents. What have you done? Nothing, Frank.
Why, Mr Fahey, can you not admit that you have failed the students and citizens of this country by your support of Fianna Fáil and apologise and resign accordingly?
The question of the students and failing students, well, I would argue that a huge amount of investment has gone into third level and fourth level education over the last number of years. The people who actually succeed in getting into university have a much more significant amount of money spent on their education than people who don't succeed.
Frank, my name is Joe
Frank, to call me the Anglo Avenger. I want to ask you a question. Are you going to resign? If you don't resign, I'm going to run as an independent candidate against you. You have a chance now to resign. If not, I'm going to run against you.
And that was Teresa Mannion reporting.